It's day 5 of 5 discs in 5 days, and look who decided to show up for the final day. Okay, you know how 100% recycled plastic is like kind of our thing?
Just a little bit.
Just a little, just a teensy bit. Today, what about testing rubber?
Ooh.
How's it feel?
It feels awesome. It feels so soft compared to regular plastic.
Yeah, like TPU.
And not as dense.
It feels lighter?
Yeah, it feels light. Ooh.
It's super squishy, right?
Yeah.
So something interesting we need to talk about with rubber is that there's actually 2 primary types of rubber, thermoset and thermoplastic. And by a landslide, the rubber you and I most commonly have heard of is a thermoset rubber. So like tires, Vibram discs, etc. But the thing about thermosets is that they're technically non-recyclable, which basically just means you can't melt it down again to recycle it and thus inject it. This is actually why we commonly see that type of rubber recycled by simply repurposing or reusing it and grinding it down into like a turf field or a playground. And that brings us to the second type of rubber, which is thermoplastic rubber, which is technically both recyclable and also a type of plastic. And don't worry, if you're confused, so am I. I'd like to act like this is simple and not complicated, but plastics are so complicated. So technically, thermoplastic rubber, like a Santoprene rubber, is also a type of TPE, which is what our base material is made of. But it's also technically rubber. So I don't even know which way is up. Interestingly enough, the world of thermoplastics and thermosets actually translates to the primary plastic we use, TPU, which stands for thermoplastic polyurethane. Now you know the thermoplastic there is super important because something like a skateboard wheel is made of polyurethane, not thermoplastic polyurethane, meaning that technically, even though it would be awesome, we'll never be able to grind down a skateboard wheel to recycle it into a disc. That's a bit of a tangent on our way to the point that I'm trying to make, which is when Dave McCormick from Gateway reached out saying he had a bunch of excess thermoplastic rubber, specifically Santoprene, that was all regrind recycled from Husqvarna, and then asked if it was something we were interested in recycling, the answer was, of course, yes. Okay, Kyle, how do you feel running rubber for the first time?
It's like going back to when we started running the inner core on like month 1 of having the machine, because I haven't worked with this plastic before.
Like back to square one?
It's back to square one because it's a material I haven't used before, and we're putting it in a mold that I kind of know well, but I don't know well enough to like have a whole bunch of parameters. So I'm set with a guess of base plastic, and let's see what we have to do to make rubber run.
That just
Literally plopped out of it.
It literally just plopped.
Whoa. It's gonna be warm.
How flexible is it? Ooh.
Woo, it's hot.
Oh man.
Wow.
So, what problems are we running into?
1, we have air clearly trapped in the rim.
Yep.
2, we have rubber that doesn't appear to be fully melted.
Yeah, unmelt.
And then 3, I haven't used this before.
So if we're dealing with unmelt, all we need to do really is increase heat, but there's 2 ways we can go about that. One is exactly what you would think, which is the band heater's temperature. There's band heaters running along the barrel, and we can just turn the temperature up on those. However, that takes time. And you can actually hear option number 2 while I was talking about that. Option number 2 is the screw that picks up the next shot. We can just crank that speed up and make it go quicker, which basically just increases friction and thus increases the temperature inside the barrel. What do we think, Kyle?
You can see that it's working a little.
It's doing something.
It'll take a couple, I think, to really take effect, but
yeah,
it looks better there.
Okay, since Kyle is taking his sweet time trying to figure out this process. I think what we need to do is see how long it takes you to make it into that basket over there. The good news is there's zero pressure because Kyle is making bad discs right now, so they're all gonna go back in the grinder. So it's no pressure. Real guess, what do you think?
I don't know. It's just right there.
Well,
It's like 75 throws.
take one. Take one right here.
Oh.
Oh. Take your time, Kyle.
Okay, I'm also seeing if my defects are being solved.
No time for that. Oh, she's dialed.
Dang it. Go.
Oh, that was clean. Oh, baton pass. Oh. At this point, it seemed like Maria was just getting closer and closer and closer to her goal, while Kyle just kept getting farther and farther from his. But what we didn't know at this very moment was that there was one problem waiting right around the corner that was about to change everything. Game time. Game time. This is the one. Okay.
A few moments later.
So Kyle,
Yes.
what just happened?
Well, to put it bluntly, the mold just broke. So,
Yep. We got one of these discs off the machine, and I was looking at it, and I noticed a little piece of metal in it, and I was like, that's not right. And then on the other side, I noticed it was going all the way through the rim, and I thought, could that be something that made it through the machine, or could that be a piece of the mold? And then I said, what did I say? We might have a very big issue. Is that what I said?
something very similar to that. It was about as PG as that statement, though.
Sure. And then when the mold opened the next time, the next disc came out with a gap on it.
Yep.
And we looked, and there was a piece that fell off of the canyon core.
Yep.
And we actually know what that piece looked like because it's right here.
Yeah, luckily it's we could recover it.
This is the piece. Now we have to figure out what that means for fixing this.
Yep.
Yep. If you would have told me that 5 Discs in 5 Days was going to consist of a broken mold, not to mention all the problems we dealt with on day 3 with the new mold, I don't know, we might have changed our plan, right? But regardless, here we are. We ended up still making the disc we call Rebby. And it happened completely unlike we expected it to be, but it was also the first time we've had a mold break, and we just didn't really know what to do. So immediately when it broke, we just took it out of the machine, put the inner core back in, and just took some time with it. And then I remember just looking at the Canyon mold sitting in the tool room and thinking to myself, why don't we still make it in the broken Canyon mold? Because this is a like limited release for this 5 Discs in 5 Days, and everyone who has it will always remember that this was when it broke. So like, why not make it with the actual broken mold? So as you can see, there's a little bit of a piece. Because it's rubber, you barely even notice that it's there, but that is exactly where the mold broke. And I don't know, just a little memento to remind us of how stressful this can be sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
The result, though, ended up being fantastic because we ended up with a fantastic canyon, and we ended up with time with it. While the mold was out of the machine, we took time to like actually throw this thing, And that's when we were like, we have to make it. So we ended up putting the mold back in the machine, and Kyle figured out all of the processing parameters that he needed to. I think he had just woken up on a better side of the bed that day. And we ended up with the Rubber Canyon stamped with the Rubber Ducky Ghost stamp. Dude, fun fact about rubber duckies, I looked this up because sometimes things happen where I look at plastics and I'm like, oh, we could recycle that. And I was like, what are rubber duckies made of? PVC and silicone, not rubber.
That's disappointing.
I know. The first rubber ducky ever, if that wasn't cool enough, was not hollow, just a dense brick of rubber. I don't even know if it floated. So switch with me because you need to tell the people how it flies. In the interim between having made the first discs, you clearly have spent some time with it.
Yes, I've spent a lot of time with it. I said in the first video, this is the one I was the most excited for, day 5, and I was not lying. I needed this disc and a softer plastic, even softer than the base we put out in the world, because I was trying to replace my approach disc with it because it was so perfect. It just needed a little bit more. And this is one of the ones we made when Maria was there that I took immediately. Jesse may or may not have known, but it immediately went in the bag, and like the next weekend, it was my approach disc, without fail. Like it took over the bag. I put my other discs away, and this one just took over. But it's a Canyon in flight, and then it just kind of hits the ground, and depending on the material you're playing on, it'll just like curl just a little. It's right there. Like it sticks. It's so predictable in what it's going to do when it gets to the ground. And like I've hit basket a few times on approaches or like short drives, and it'll just like hit and stick. So it does what I want it to do, and I can go to my premiums if I need skip, but these have been phenomenal.
If you're the type of person who likes a disc that like warps a little bit in the bag and gets beat up to perfection, like I remember being that way back in the day with like a good BT medium harp.
Yes.
If you're that type of person, I think you'll like this one.
I'm just gonna try to throw it flat.
Yep.
100% a Canyon.
And it just sticks though.
It hits the ground and stops. Oh, that's clean.
Is disc golf easy? I think the moral of the story is somehow, by the skin of our teeth, we made it through 5 discs in 5 days. Shout out to Dave, shout out to Tractors, shout out to the Holiday Used Disc Swap. Today is the last day to register when this video is being posted. We'd love to have you join us. I guess really when it comes down to it, now I'm just thinking of next year, and I'm kind of worried because this was a toughie.
Yeah, what mold will Maria help us break next year?